As the governor's office, the Republican Party, and state lawmakers trade barbs and threats over using private email accounts to do government business, we've learned the past two governors religiously avoided using their state email accounts to avoid leaving an email trail. The charges have been thrown around lately like so many political hot potatoes. Democrats say Governor Susana Martinez and her staff are running a shadow government by using private email accounts to conduct public business. Republicans say the practice has been around for years and that Democrats are just as guilty as Republicans of the practice.
I don't think that a court in New Mexico has done the analysis yet on private emails for public officials. So that might be a really important case.
Still, the issue of whether state emails are public record was settled a few years ago.
You know, because in the early days, it wasn't sure if it was public record, if it was more akin to like telephone.
John Hiron Martinez is the state records administrator.
It wasn't until a number of court decisions that said, no, these are public records.
But don't go over to the state archive in Santa Fe expecting to find state emails from former New Mexico governors.
Richardson was the first governor that we got email from. And so this is a learning experience for all of us.
And while the archive received more than 2.5 million emails from Richardson administration officials after he left office, archivists were surprised when they checked Richardson's state email address.
Well, it appears that the email wasn't used. We found that there were no records in his in or his sent or his deleted boxes.
That's right. It appears Richardson never used his state email address, even one time during his 8 years in office. Instead, if his staff needed to communicate with him, they used one of the governor's private email accounts.
I remember one was for like Bill Richardson for president, but the other ones were just private emails.
This is an example of an email Richardson sent to his spokesman, Gilbert Gallegos, on April 18, 2008. You can see Gallegos used his state email address while Richardson responded from a redacted private email address. We don't know why Richardson chose not to use his state email address because he didn't call us back today. But Attorney General Gary King says using private email today to avoid public scrutiny may not hold up in court.
I don't think that it's a slam dunk to just say this was all done on my private email, so it's not subject to the Inspection of Public Records Act.
King says he expects the courts to clarify the issue in the near future.
I think that this next year or so will be really important in New Mexico history from that perspective to decide what are public records and what have to be delivered.
Former Governor Gary Johnson tells News 13 he never used his state email address while in office. He says he didn't want his email to be subject to the Open Records Act because that would hamper honest communication with his staff.